Hi, welcome to my tutorial. Today we speak about the node system, how you make materials. The whole thing is located here in shading. You get to shading, and here is the material property. You click on that, and then you have the node system here. When you click there, you see it. Shader editor, that means it is the node system. What is a node? A node is some of these boxes. It gives thousands of these boxes with different functions, and you can combine them. But important is in this node editor or shader editor, that's the new word for the node editor. At 2.8 they call it shader editor. Before they call it node editor. And there you can make materials. Think we must build here a wood material on this cube. So we can go here to the material property tab and make there a material. That material that we make, we'll build it here in this shader editor. It starts from the left by an input and goes then over images and changes and colors to the material output. So it ever starts left and goes all the way to the output. And the output is the last one, then it will show. Good. What we see here is a shader. So when we look what is there at possibilities, we have it here, the add tab. And when we look there, that are all possibilities, all boxes that we can put into. So means nodes. Principal shader is a node, material output is a node. Okay. So I have told you about input and output. You see here input and output. You see we have there the material output that we have here. We have here no input because it is the standard node system. Standard node is that here. When you make a new material here plus new, you have every time this as a standard. But you don't want to have a white material, you want to have a wood material as example, and then we need an input. So what we have else? We have shader. Shader means there you can say which material it is. It is glass, or it have some gloss, or it emits, or it is only a volume, or for dust or fog or such. It has some refractions, so that is like diamonds or such have reflections in it, and so on. So that says it is translucent, the light comes through it or not, and there you can define how that material that you want to build is. Then you have the option to get to the material textures. There are some textures, they are standard in this version, that's noise, musgrave, and so on, that are we call it procedural textures. That means they need no input. You can plug to some input, but you don't need to. There you can make some natural sample textures. I can try to find the pictures that are made for such tutorials from this Procedural Textures, what they does. Must look here. So here we see the Procedural Textures. You see Musgrave is for organic materials. There you can make some organic materials, you can tweak there a lot and then you become that. Or here Veroni is for metal, veins and skin, such like lava or such, or skin, yeah. Stucci, it's good for walls, like yeah, some paper on the wall. And wood is a wood material. Marble clouds, there are many. That are these procedural textures. So there are from Blender to build your own primitive materials. But most of the time, you will not take them. You take better a texture that you downloaded. So you have here the option image texture. When you click there, you have here a new box. This box is a node, and there you can put your own textures into that should be shown there. You see, when we get that, it has here one input, two outputs. Every time there is an input on the left side, on the right side is the output. So there comes something in and something goes out. That is a texture. We can make an example when we take their image texture. We say open, and I go to my folder where I have the textures. Moment, I must search up term here, and I take a wood texture. Here. So we have here wood textures, and we take one of them like that. So we don't see here anything because it isn't correct connected. The only one that is on the output, only the output is shown, and the output is base color white. So what we have here inputs, many inputs and one output. And you see here green color, that means shader. So only there you can put shaders in or plug them off. Green, shaders. Then yellow is every time color. Color means also complete images, textures. And you see here is the output color and here is the input color. So I can connect that one till that one. Then we have here a preview. There you can see the texture before, and you see now there is the wood material. You ask why we don't see it here, because it needs an unwrap. The computer tries in the moment to make this wood on, but he don't know what is it for an object. He don't know that. He knows that first when you unwrapped it. What's unwrapping? I did tutorials before for that. So if you don't know what unwrapping is, then go to my YouTube site. So you can take here YouTube, Pascal Alt, see it on the top. So there I have many tutorials for building something, and tutorials for basics, and that are real all tutorials, 30 hours one to get from start to that object, and it's for beginners, so you can make that. Here are learning basics, and there I have made a tutorial. And when you take there Blender Unwrap Tutorial Basic English, that shows you how Unwrap works. You can only paint on or plug some pictures on a 3D object when you unwrap it. So you make it from a 3D object to a 2D object. Then you can paint on it. You cannot paint directly on the 3D object. You must before unwrap that so that it is 2D. Then you can paint on, and then can you plug something on. So when we go back to Blender, we go here in the window, press Tab on the keyboard and hit U. Then you see here UV mapping. So I can now unwrap. Now he makes this 3D object to a 2D object. Where we can see that? In the UV editing. And that here is, this is the 3D object, and that is the 2D of this 3D model. So it cuts off and was plain now, and that is a 3D object. And when you have that, now you can paint on and do some good. So we go back to the shading editor, and now we have to say this material should be on that cube. So we click the cube, go in the edit mode, press A to select all, so all faces are selected. Without that, you can give each face another material. That is possible. So we want to give it to all, so press A to select all. And then we have the material selected, and then assign. Then he plugs it onto the cube. You see there. That is this path in the moment, from left to right, from start to output. He now tries an unwrap method that is a standard one. If you want another one, you need another input. Or to organize that more and get different ways, you need another input. When you look at this wood material, you see the cloth is everywhere the same. So that is not the material like wood looks. Wood has some places there are not lightened, not reflective, and the other are reflective. And some are deeper and some are higher. So that we all must do in this shader editor to say this material have to be so, so, and so. It must have roughness, but where it should have a roughness there, and at the other parts not. It should have depth. So we need a normal map for getting the deep parts and the high parts of the object. Where we can get them, you can take Materialize, that is a program where you can make maps from a texture. So this is only a texture, it's only a picture, you see it and you plug it on. But you need the depth, that is the normal map. You need a light map, that means where is light and where is no light. You need a displace texture, that means where it is high, where it is low, and such more. So each texture needs his maps, and for the maps you need a program that makes the maps for you. So that means when you look on my site, YouTube Planar Matrix, it's called. Also, you can reach that by Pascal Alt. There is no difference. There you can see Blender, texture, maps, normal maps, ambient maps. There I show you
I will come back to
how to build these maps I spoke about. And it's better you looked at also. And then we can go on in the next part. I show you then more which other options we have here. We are at textures in the moment. We go on and go over the other steps too, but this is the first part of the shader editor tutorial, and next time we go on. So thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next tutorial part. Bye.